Hello, I'm Sally Baudet. Welcome to Global Business Europe. Our top stories. Another bumper bonanza for NVIDIA. Revenue doubles as the chipmaker continues to surf the AI wave. But how long can the silicon rush continue as NVIDIA's clients become its competitors? We'll look at whether the AI sector can balance its books. More upward pressure on U.S. interest rates from the latest unemployment data as the Fed Reserve Chairman prepares to speak to central bankers. Time limits and nighttime bans. Social media giant Meta agrees to new online rules for American kids and says competitors YouTube and TikTok should do the same. And
join me from Gamescom 2026 for all the latest in the world of video games, and it's cosplay day.
The company powering the AI boom has reported another quarter of massive sales. NVIDIA, which builds high-performance microchips, said revenue hit $96 billion in the second quarter. That is double what it was a year ago, and beating Wall Street estimates. And the silicon rush isn't stopping. NVIDIA says it expects revenue to reach $108 billion in the next quarter. This as demand for data centers and processing power continues to surge. Again, that is more than analysts were predicting. NVIDIA's announcement lifted tech stocks in Asia. So what's happening on Wall Street? Our correspondent Mitch McCann is in New York. Hello, Mitch. So it's an astronomical figure. Did the market react to it?
Certainly did. Good afternoon from New York, Sally. Look, as you might expect, investors are very pleased with this result, and we are seeing that NVIDIA's stock price is up this afternoon, about 8% a short time ago. Now, the chipmaker is actually on trend to buck another trend that we've seen, on track rather, to buck a trend that we've seen over the last 4 quarters, where NVIDIA has posted positive results only for its stock to drop the following day. As I say, no sign of that so far. The stock up 8% just after lunchtime here in New York. Now, the result has also buoyed other chip stocks on Wall Street and stocks that have a relationship with NVIDIA as well. The Taiwan semiconductor company, manufacturing company, TSMC, which has a decades-long relationship with NVIDIA, it's up about 1.9% this afternoon. Broadcom, which helps supply NVIDIA with technology for its Blackwell GPUs, it's up 3.61%. And more broadly, we're also seeing an impact on tech stocks more on the consumer side of things. This is because some of these businesses, like Apple and Microsoft, for example, both partner with NVIDIA on various projects, and I've seen a bump this afternoon as well. Apple was up a short time ago, 0.4%. Microsoft was up 1.34%. So one of the takeaways, actually, for me in the last sort of year is that we've talked about this bubble bursting, or a possible bubble bursting, amid concerns that these tech stocks have been overvalued. Jensen Huang, the chief executive of NVIDIA, came out when this really was creating a lot of concern and said, you know, calm down, everyone. This isn't what we are seeing. And so far, actually, he's been proven correct, because companies like his one keep going from strength to strength. One analyst from the well-known financial services firm here, Raymond James, says that NVIDIA could reach $1 trillion in sales for the fiscal year that ends in January 2029. So no sign just yet of any slowdown from NVIDIA.
What can you tell us about NVIDIA's reported plans to buy Hugging Face? This is an AI startup people might remember was hacked by OpenAI in July.
Yeah, that's right. Hugging Face is known as a platform. It's where developers share open source AI models, and it's a place that's seen as a beneficial place for developers to test their tools. The technology and business website, The Information, is reporting that NVIDIA has agreed to buy the platform for $12.9 billion. And if this is true, it would expand NVIDIA's reach across the sector. And I think there may be questions, though, about the price that's been reported. Almost $13 billion for a company with an annualized revenue of $150 million. But we'll wait for more details if these companies actually decide to provide more details. But that's what's been reported at this moment.
Mitch, thanks so much. We'll chat to you again in just a moment. Let me bring in now Matt Maley, Chief Market Strategist for trading and financial services firm Miller Tabak & Co. Hi there, and thanks so much for joining us. $96 billion in revenue just for one quarter. It's an eye-watering amount. Does it cement the dominance of NVIDIA?
Hi, Sally. Yes, it certainly does. The question is that, is this going to be something where they'll lose some sort of dominance in the future? With them providing the first time ever giving full year guidance, and it being as strong as it is, certainly shows that their dominance isn't going to be tested anytime soon. But at the same time, we do have to be careful about what's going on with the rest of the group, because I just noticed that the SOX Semiconductor Index is only up about 1.5%, and that even though, as you guys just mentioned, that Taiwan Semiconductor and Broadcom are doing better today, most of the rest of the group isn't doing all that much. So, we start to worry about this, if NVIDIA has too much dominance, and what kind of an impact that'll have on other firms.
It is a question how long NVIDIA can hold on to its dominance, because some of its largest customers are increasingly designing their own chips. Do you think that one day will actually threaten NVIDIA?
It's certainly, I think it will, yes, to answer the question. The question is when, there's this problem, where they're the vendor, they're the financier, they're the investor. Not only that, they're the guarantor of a lot of the debt that's involved in this area. So that's a big concern. Now, they keep talking about, well, they're very complicated and will take a lot of money for these vendors, the hyperscalers, to equal what NVIDIA can provide. But they have a lot of money at their hands. They also have a lot of ability to raise more debt because they're AAA or AA rated. So the fact, I think that they'll play catch up a lot faster than NVIDIA is saying right now, but we'll have to see.
I want to raise another issue. It's another concern, and that is around potential circular financing. Some investors call NVIDIA the central bank of AI because it's supporting so many startups, which are also its customers. Jensen Huang says this is not a problem. We've got to support these startups. They need tons of money to get going. Do you see it as a problem?
Well, again, having lived through the dot-com bubble and the aftermath, I do worry about it. And there certainly are some similarities to what, Cisco was doing at that time. Now, I do believe that NVIDIA is in much better condition than Cisco was back then. However, it does raise questions about how much demand do they really have out there? How inflated are these circular programs making the, how much are they inflating these demand numbers? And, so it's definitely something that we need to worry about, because, they aren't picking up demand from anywhere new. It's still, yes, these hyperscalers keep adding to their raising their demand forecast, but the problem is they're not making any money from it. So at least not making much. So until they get that ROI up, at some point they're going to have to pull back on that demand, and so that does concern me with NVIDIA.
All right, thank you so much for chatting to us today. That's Matt Maley, Chief Market Strategist for trading and financial services firm Miller Tabak & Co. Now, US jobless claims have fallen for a second week, and the country's trade deficit has widened again, with exports falling for a third straight month in July. Let's cross back to our correspondent, Mitch McCann, who is in New York. So, Mitch, this latest data is adding a fair amount of pressure because we know what's going on in Jackson Hole. Just talk us through the data.
Yeah, hi again, Sally. Look, figures show that last week 203,000 Americans applied for unemployment benefits. That's down from 206,000 the week before, and it's also below the 208,000 target. So less Americans than expected are filing for unemployment benefits. Now, while that is positive news, fewer people are signing up for unemployment benefits, it does give the Federal Reserve more of a reason to hike rates at a time of inflation. That is because the risk with hiking rates, and the Fed will have been wary of this, is that it could be bad for job growth and job stimulation. But as we've just highlighted, job growth is becoming less of a concern, meaning tackling inflation really is still the main priority. Now, this comes as Kevin Walsh is set to give a highly anticipated speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium in Wyoming tomorrow. All eyes are going to be watching to see what he has to say about rates and whether or not he sees more room for a rate hike in September. Now, some interesting numbers on this I've been reading this this morning. The Federal Reserve's inflation target, as we know, is 2%. Inflation right now is about 3.7%, and that means that the Fed has missed inflation targets for 65 months straight. Now, Walsh has been very public about the fact that the Fed needs to be, less public actually, it needs to spend less time telling the world what might happen at upcoming meetings and more time watching market reaction to decisions. So it remains unclear how much policy direction he's going to give tomorrow, but you can bet that the market's going to be watching extremely closely what he has to say. He may address what we've just talked about, those jobs numbers, but also inflation is the key priority at this point. So we're going to be watching to see what Kevin Walsh says and whether he hints whether or not there's going to be a possible rate hike, actually. It's only a few months ago we were talking about rate cuts, a rate hike at the next meeting in September.
I can think of at least one person who might not be happy if that happens. Thank you so much, Mitch McCann in New York. Now, Meta has provided details of its settlement with 47 US states who sued the tech giant over child safety concerns. Subject to court approval, the agreement will see new online restrictions for children, a 2-hour daily scrolling limit, no access between midnight and 6 a.m., muted alerts during school, and more parental controls. But the owner of Instagram and Facebook wants all social media platforms to adopt the same rules. And Meta is holding back $5 billion of the $18 billion settlement until competitors YouTube and TikTok impose the same measures. While those restrictions will apply only to children in the USA, the settlement is getting global attention. South Korean regulators are calling for the rules to be rolled out globally. Australian authorities agree, saying it proves tech firms have the tools to protect young people if they really want to. And the EU says Meta must come up with a plan to protect children in Europe from addictive social media.
We expect, indeed, proper screen time management. We expect proper parental control on these platforms. So indeed, Meta knows what we are expecting from them. Now it is for the company to offer these commitments in the European Union to protect our kids here too.
Meta isn't the only social media company in court. Brazil has sued chat platform Discord for $97 million, accusing it of failing to comply with laws that protect children and teenagers. The government also wants age verification, parental control tools, and content moderation to be introduced. Technology can, of course, be used for the greater good as well. Cotton farmers in Uzbekistan are boosting production and cutting water use by using Chinese technology. Alyosha Milenkovic reports from the Uzbekistan-Turkmenistan border.
This may be the most beautiful sound in the desert, the sound of water. Here in southern Uzbekistan, every drop matters, especially for a water-demanding crop like cotton. And increasingly, farmers here are turning to Chinese drip irrigation technology to make those drops go further.
We expect to yield up to 9 tons of cotton per hectare. Our cotton is developing well. As you can see, around 50% of the cotton has already opened. I have been working with this drip irrigation system for 2 years. The water savings from using this system are very significant.
Water arriving through canal is collected in this huge basin, then mixed with fertilizer and pumped through drip lines directly to the plants. Around 5,000 hectares in this area are already covered by the system. It reduces water losses while allowing farmers to control precisely how much water and nutrition their cotton receives. But Chinese technology here doesn't stop at the edge of the field. In nearby town of Karshi, tractors, cotton planters and combine harvesters are lined up in a new assembly facility expected to begin production in 2 months.
Our company has been deeply rooted in China for many years and is well received by a wide range of users. So we are bringing our most advanced technology to participate in Uzbekistan's agricultural modernization drive. We aim to support the local community with our latest technology.
And at the other end of the production chain, another Chinese-owned facility is preparing to process the cotton harvested from these fields. Its machinery is already installed, and the factory is expected to open in November and provide jobs for up to 100 local workers. From advanced agricultural machinery and precision drip irrigation
to modern processing facilities. China's experience and expertise in cotton production are being put into practice right here in Uzbekistan, spanning almost every stage of the production chain. Alyosha Milenkovic, CGTN, Boston, in southern Uzbekistan.
This is Global Business Europe. Still ahead, Gamescom opens to the public in Germany. For many, though, it's much more than just a game.
Everything is a business story.
Welcome back to Global Business Europe with me, Sally Burdett. Your headlines. Another bumper bonanza for NVIDIA. Revenue doubles as the chipmaker continues to surf the AI wave. Time limits and nighttime bans. Social media giant Meta agrees to new online rules for American kids and says competitors YouTube and TikTok should do the same. Now, gaming fans are flocking to Cologne in Germany as Gamescom 2026 opens to the general public. Gamescom is the world's biggest video game fair. Officials say tickets to this year's event are selling fast, with several sessions fully booked. Nearly 360,000 people bought tickets for the 2025 edition. There's plenty for fans to see this year, with a record 1,700 exhibitors showing off their products. Well, not so long ago, players bought the game and that was the end of it. Today, it's often just the start, with developers finding all sorts of ways to make more money. Our correspondent Michael Murillo is here to tell us more. Hello, Michael.
Sally, thank you very much. Now, for many people, gaming is not just about the game itself. It's a form of expression, and that expression is now part of the business model. Let's take a look at some examples. First up, Love and Deep Space. It's a mobile game made in China, and it combines elements of a romantic novel with sci-fi and even some martial arts. Now, the game is free, but the fun, well, that comes at a price. Players have to chat with the characters, but those chats are limited. So if they want more time with the character, they have to pay for it. They can also unlock certain storylines, but again, that's something they have to buy. This is known as in-game spending, and it's big business. Players spent $650 million on Love and Deep Space, and that was all within 2 years. Now let's talk about Roblox, where players explore virtual worlds using avatars. They can customize these avatars with clothes and accessories. They can also choose how they walk and run, even give them cars. And yes, Roblox is free, but players pay to update their avatars with the latest fashion, and they pay for game passes, which provide access to things like virtual theme parks. The company says players bought virtual currency worth $6.8 billion in 2025. And there's a good chance we'll see more of this. The reason? Well, one survey shows that 85% of American teens play games. We've divided that group into those who just play and those who identify as gamers. And there it is, 40% see themselves as gamers, so it's a key part of their identity. As they become adults, they'll earn more money and probably spend some of it on gaming. So personal connection is a big part of this industry, and it looks set to get even bigger because, as we've seen, if it's personal, it's very often profitable. Now, cosplay has become a huge part of gaming culture as well. Fans will dress up as their favorite characters, immersing themselves in these fictional worlds. There's been a lot of this at Gamescom, and as Peter Oliver found out, it goes well beyond just dressing up.
At Gamescom, you don't have to switch on a console to become your favourite character. For thousands of fans, dressing up is as much a part of gaming culture as playing the games themselves. Some buy their outfits, others spend months making them. But for many, it's about finding their people.
It's about the feeling of community, about finding other people who are excited about the same things as you and having fun with them.
And with hundreds of thousands of visitors clocking up kilometres through these halls, even superheroes suffer wear and tear. Elle works at the costume repair station. Broken shoes, ripped seams and damaged armour and snapped 3D printed props are all part of the job. But cosplay isn't only a labour of love. There's a growing business supplying the costumes, props and accessories that help turn fans into their favourite characters.
We have lots of customers who are cosplayers, but also ordinary people. They might be family dads who didn't even know this existed. They see us here or at other conventions and later order what they want, like Obi-Wan or Anakin, characters they remember from childhood.
But buying the right kit is only part of it. Andy has come as one of the main characters from an extremely popular space saga set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and says a convincing cosplay requires more than simply putting on a costume.
A good cosplay outfit definitely needs heart, passion and perseverance. You can make a lot yourself, and for some things you need a good friend who can make them for you.
I've got my starter sword, but I think I'm up against an expert level here. But if intergalactic saber war feels a little bit strenuous for you, then there's always the fantastic attention to detail set out by the latest farming simulator game.
You know, in the end, it's all about authenticity. People don't want to play with fictional stuff when we are talking about a farming simulator or simulator at all. People want to play the real stuff.
For these fans, gaming isn't simply something they play, it's a hobby, a community, and a world they can step inside. Peter Oliver, CGTN, Cologne, Germany.
Incredible stuff. Quick look at other business news. Novo Nordisk says Chinese regulators have accepted its application to sell an oral version of its Wegovy weight loss drug. The Danish company wants to catch up with Eli Lilly in China, where more than 65% of people could be overweight or obese by 2030. Profits at China's major industrial companies had jumped nearly 18%. Official data from the first 7 months of the year shows mining and manufacturing were among the strongest performers. Industries more reliant on domestic demand experienced slower rates of growth. And the Seattle Seahawks have a new owner, and he's paying a record $9.6 billion for the Super Bowl champions. NFL owners have approved the sale to billionaire Vinod Khosla, making it the second largest franchise deal in North American sports history. Khosla says his mission is simple: to keep winning and bring home another Super Bowl. Now, a hot, dry summer has brought forward grape picking far earlier than usual in some of France's major wine regions. In Bordeaux, growers are bracing for potentially their smallest harvest in 4 decades. But the hot weather also brings benefits. Shui Song-ju reports.
It's just after 6 in the morning at Chateau Fontenelle, southeast of Bordeaux. Harvesters are already moving through the vines, picking before temperatures rise later in the day.
There is a rich fruity scent across the vineyard this morning, and if I taste one of these grapes, it is remarkably sweet. And the winemaker says this summer's heat has accelerated ripening and sugar build-up, bringing the harvest here earlier than usual.
And it's not just here. Across Bordeaux, this year's harvest has come unusually early.
For the first time, we start the harvest the 6th of August for Crémant de Bordeaux, and we start the Sauvignon Blanc for dry white last week. And for the first time ever, we started the red in Saint-Émilion yesterday. This is very unusual.
Back at Chateau Fontenelle, Stephanie Defrain has been making wine for nearly 50 years. He says he has never seen the harvest this early. Picking would normally begin in mid to late September. This year, it came almost a month sooner. But early picking is only part of the story. The dry conditions have left the grapes smaller, producing less juice and ultimately less wine.
Our average yield is around 5,500 liters per hectare. This year, based on the first grapes we have harvested, we are getting around 4,000 to 4,500 liters per hectare. So in terms of volume, we are down by about 20%. Normally, we produce around 280,000 bottles a year. This year, I think we will produce about 220,000 bottles.
The Bordeaux Wine Council says the region's wine yard area has fallen below 80,000 hectares. With less land and wine and lower yields this year, the overall harvest could be among the smallest in 4 decades. And the heat follows the grapes into the winery. More cooling than usual is needed to keep temperatures down and preserve freshness and aromas.
We use a lot of cooling with techniques that help prevent oxidation and keep the wine very fruity. Carbon dioxide helps lower the temperature, while also preventing oxidation.
But the heat is not entirely bad news. More complete ripening can concentrate sugars and aromas in the grapes. For growers facing a smaller crop, better quality could help offset some of the loss in volume.
Vines need to have a low level of water and high temperature in order to fight and in order to give the more aromas that it can. So quality is going to be good. But if it goes further, it's going to be complicated, and this is why we have to adapt using new grape varietal.
Over the past 50 years, harvests across several major French wine regions have moved forward by an average of around 24 days, according to France's National Agricultural Research Institute. For Bordeaux, a changing climate is forcing growers to adapt and innovate, while trying to preserve a wine legacy and reputation built over centuries. 朱雪松 CGTN, Bordeaux.
Your headlines again. Another bumper bonanza for NVIDIA. Revenue doubles as the chipmaker continues to surf the AI wave. Time limits and nighttime bans. Social media giant Meta agrees to new online rules for American kids and says competitors YouTube and TikTok should do the same. And more upward pressure on US interest rates from the latest unemployment data as the Federal Reserve Chairman prepares to speak to central bankers. That's it for Global Business Europe. Thanks for watching. We've got more on all our stories at europe.cgtn.com, and do follow CGTN Europe on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And you can go to CGTN Europe's channel on the Telegram app or scan the QR code on the screen to get stories and updates sent direct to your phone. Coming up next on CGTN Africa Live. We'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. From all of us here in London, goodbye.